willpower is one of the finest aspects of a person's personality. No matter how much you develop willpower, it is still a finite resource. And from time to time, we discover that we don't possess as much willpower as needed to face the challenges all around us. We need something more powerful than willpower. As little children of God, we are part of His grand plan, which is far beyond our puny intellect can conceive of. If only we are willing to believe He wants us all to be perfect, and hence there is infinite potential for growth. You must always focus on growth in your life. Your life is worthwhile if you keep learning. But yesterday we discussed the second law, that accomplishment doesn't happen as a sudden event. It's a journey that is undertaken one meaningful step at a time. And it requires constantly making good choices. This unleashes the momentum in our lives with good habits and mindsets. But good choices require self-discipline. And hence, willpower is one of the finest aspects of a person's personality. No matter how much you develop willpower, it is still a finite resource. And from time to time, we discover that we don't possess as much willpower as needed to face the challenges all around us. And it gives way. You may have decided to follow the healthiest diet, but then discovered yourself binging on junk food. You may have decided not to criticize anyone, but then discovered your tongue going loose. You may have decided to control your eyes and look at no nonsense and found yourself binging on reels. Whatever be the case, we need something more powerful than willpower. Is it possible to have something like that? Absolutely. And this is why power. Why power is when you have a strong reason for doing something. It is immensely more powerful, as we shall see in a little while, and more authentic. Let me start off with a personal example. When I was in high school, I loved the humanities subjects, but unfortunately I was not scoring in them. And I had no fascination for the STEM subjects, but I was scoring in them. And that is why people pushed me into engineering. And even in engineering, I made the fatal mistake of choosing a branch that went against the core of my nature. I chose mechanical engineering. And when I was in the foundry shop and the lathe shop and the sheet metal shop and hearing steam flowing through gas turbines, I felt like I was in hell. And hence, very often I would bunk classes and sit in the library and read books on poetry. 50% of my classmates were equally insincere for their own reasons. However, when the night before the examination came, the same phenomenon could be seen repeating itself. Whether sincere or insincere, every student suddenly developed the ability to remain in focus and study through the night. How did this happen? All the year long, they were like short of willpower. And where did it all suddenly come from? This was the why power. We realize that now if we are insincere, then we will do poorly in the exam and it will not be good for the grade. When that why power came, suddenly the ability was realized. Mothers have been known to lift the backsides of cars to rescue their babies from under the tire. Tell you an example from Wikipedia of Daniel and Lana, who used to live in Armenia, and they had an 8-year-old son called Vahram. He had gone 4 miles away to school when they got the terrible news around midday that an earthquake had hit. Of course, it shook all of Armenia, but their son's school was the epicenter. And in a radius of 4 miles, all the big buildings had crumbled, including the school. Daniel remembered his promise to his child, "No matter what, I'll be there for you." He walked and saw the school turned into rubble. He asked people, "Why aren't you doing something about it?" They said, "What is to be done?" But his strong why was motivating him. He climbed up and he started removing the rubble all by himself. He continued for 14 hours straight until he heard a voice that was like music to his ears. He heard, "Papa," and he responded, "Vahram, is it you?" "Yes." "Come hold my hand, I'll save you." "Papa, please save my classmates first, they are here with me." "Yes, of course. Vahram, I'll save them all." From their 13 children plus one, Vahram got saved by Daniel. It was a miracle. And this unbelievable feat happened because of the strong reason the father felt in saving his child. So where does why power come from that goes beyond willpower? Willpower is the control of the mind. Why power comes from your intellect, the Buddhi. Now our scriptures, they explain, Indriyebhya parahyartha arthebhyascha param manah manasastu para buddhi buddhiratma mahan parah mahata paramavyaktam avyaktat purusha parah purushanna parang kinchit sakashtha sa paragati. The Kathopanishad states, beyond your senses are the objects of the senses. Beyond that is the mind. Beyond the mind is the intellect, the Buddhi. Beyond that is the soul. Beyond that is Maya, and beyond that is God, and beyond God there is nothing. So your intellect is superior to and higher than your mind. The intellect is endowed with the ability to control the mind if it chooses to exert itself. Now, if your diabetic doctor said to you, control the sugar intake, you will exert your willpower. Yes, I need to try, but I am so bad at controlling my palate. So you will struggle. But let us say that you are about to indulge in your favorite crisp, yellow jalebi all round, your willpower is given way. And you have even held the jalebi in your hand and anticipating this immediate gratification from sugar and ghee, etc. And the crispness of it, you have started salivating. Some people are salivating just hearing my description. Now, in that situation, do you think it is possible to exert sense control? It will require just 1 minute. Just scream out, "Sir, what are you doing? You wish to die?" So he says, "Die?" The intellect says, "There's something wrong." The intellect tells the mind, "Stop." The mind tells the hand, "Stop," and he stops. "What's the matter?" You tell him, "There is potassium cyanide in that jalebi. It is a poison pill." Immediately the intellect takes a split-second decision. "This is harmful for me. Throw it." Now, the moment the intellect tells the mind is not going to rebel. The mind says, "Throw it." And the hand has chucked it away. How did this person develop the ability to resist the jalebi? It came from the intellect. That was the why power. So the intellect is like a vessel. And everything you hear, everything you read, it all comes into your buddhi. It has got 50 kinds of knowledge. You heard Swamiji say during the family camp lecture that human life is very rare. That came inside. Now, which knowledge you lift up in your intellect from those 50 kinds, one thing you lift up, that gets activated. And the moment it gets activated, the intellect then exerts its ability as per the knowledge to control the mind. It doesn't mean that if you have why power, you don't need willpower. You will need why power plus willpower. See, during the day also, your why power says, work in the office. The mind says, but this is so boring. So you have to control the mind and the intellect. That is why Shri Krishna says in the Gita, "Mai eva mana adhatsva, mai buddhim niveshaya." Arjun, you will have to offer the mind and the intellect to me. Mai arpita mano buddhi, both mind and intellect. But the intellect's position is supreme amongst all the machinery you have. That is why the intellect needs to be properly empowered. To the extent the Gita says, "Buddhi yogam upashritya." Arjun, what I am telling you is not karma yoga. It's not jnana yoga. It's not bhakti yoga. It's buddhi yoga. It's empowering your intellect and controlling the mind with the intellect. Let me give you an example. One schooler was in his school soccer team, but he was not in the first 11. He was a substitute player who used to sit by the side in most matches, watching the main team playing. Nevertheless, he was very sincere and he would report every evening for the practice in the school field. And his father would accompany him. But the father would sit back in the stands and this boy would be by the sideline. This was almost a daily feature. And the coach would see it. Once for a 7-day stretch, the boy did not come to practice. On the 7th day was a critical match for the school. A quarterfinals against a strong team. Just 5 minutes before the game was to begin, the boy came running and said, Coach, please, let me play today. The coach said, but you are a substitute. Coach, I will not disappoint you. But you didn't come for 7 days for practice. Coach, believe me, I'll play the game of my life. Seeing his earnestness, the coach said, all right. He gave him a few tips. Try and create the moves. Don't stick with the ball. Jump into the gaps. Be accurate in your passes. Now, when the game started, he played as if somebody was possessing him. And his school won 5-3, out of which 3 goals were scored by this boy because he was a little bit faster to take the passes. He was a little more accurate in creating the moves. And if ever he got the ball in the D, he was just so precise that he was scoring the goals. So 3 of the 5 goals he scored. At the end of the game, the coach said, my, how did you play like that? I never knew you were such a star. What is the secret? The boy said, Coach, today my father was watching me. The coach looked where his father used to sit in the back and saw there was nobody. He said, where is your father? Coach, he passed away 7 days ago. He's watching me from above. The coach said, but he used to watch you from here as well, and you never played like this. Coach, he was blind. He would accompany me, but he could never see me. Today was the first day he is seeing me. Now this boy had such a strong why in his head that it made all the difference. This why power is so much more than the willpower, plus more authentic as well. Willpower is like a brute force, I have to do it. And why power is coming from a deeper place.